Dating after divorce, my unexpected journey. If you've ever felt like your life was hitting reset, especially when it comes to love, then you know exactly how I felt after my divorce. I was terrified, confused, and honestly, a little bit lost. But what I discovered on my journey back into dating completely blew my mind and changed everything. Stick around, because I'm opening up about the raw, unfiltered truth of finding yourself and love again, even when it feels impossible. When my marriage ended, I thought my love life was over too. Divorce felt like a full stop, the closing of a chapter I had invested years, emotions, and dreams into. I wasn't just grieving the loss of a partner, I was mourning the version of myself that believed in forever. But as time passed, I discovered that endings often lead to beginnings, sometimes the most unexpected ones. At first, the idea of dating again terrified me. The world had changed, people were meeting through apps, sending emojis instead of love letters, and ghosting had become normal. I didn't even know where to start. My confidence was shaky, my trust fragile, and my heart hesitant. But curiosity, and a quiet hope, pushed me forward. The first few dates were awkward. I felt like a teenager again, trying to remember how to flirt, how to laugh freely, how to share my story without oversharing my scars. Yet, with every coffee, every conversation, I began to rediscover something vital, myself. I learned that I could be vulnerable without losing my strength, open without being naive, and hopeful without expecting perfection. Dating after divorce wasn't about finding someone to replace my ex, it was about learning who I had become after everything fell apart. I realized love isn't something you chase, it's something you attract when you're at peace with your own company. Today, I see dating not as a second chance at love, but as a continuation of growth. Whether I find the one or simply enjoy meaningful connections along the way, I've learned that love after loss is possible, and often, it blooms in the most unexpected places. As I continued this new chapter, I realized that dating after divorce wasn't just about romance, it was about healing. Each encounter taught me something new about myself, about what I truly wanted, and what I would never settle for again. I learned to recognize red flags without making excuses for them, to appreciate small gestures without reading too much into them, and to speak up about my boundaries without feeling guilty. One of the hardest lessons was patience. After years in a committed relationship, I had forgotten that connection takes time. I wanted things to move quickly, to feel that deep comfort and familiarity again. But real relationships, I learned, aren't built overnight. They grow slowly, through honesty, consistency, and mutual effort. There were disappointments, of course. People who weren't ready. People who said the right things but showed the opposite through their actions. And moments where loneliness crept in, whispering that maybe it was easier to stay single forever. But every time I felt discouraged, I reminded myself that I wasn't starting from zero, I was starting from experience. What surprised me most was how love found its way back when I least expected it. It didn't come in the form of grand gestures or perfect timing, but in simple moments, laughter over dinner, deep conversations under the stars, and the quiet comfort of being understood. It wasn't the fairy tale kind of love I once imagined, but something far more real, patient, mature, and kind. Dating after divorce has been a journey of rediscovery, not just of love, but of self-worth, confidence, and peace. It taught me that happiness doesn't depend on someone else's presence but on my own ability to embrace life fully, even after heartbreak. Now, I no longer see my divorce as a failure. I see it as a transformation, the moment life invited me to rebuild, stronger and wiser than before. And though my story is still unfolding, I've learned that the best kind of love story begins with learning to love yourself first. As time went on, something inside me began to shift. I stopped viewing dating as a search for validation and started seeing it as an opportunity for connection, real, genuine connection. I became more selective, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. I finally understood the kind of person I wanted beside me, someone who brought peace instead of chaos, who listened instead of competed to be heard, and who valued effort as much as I did. It was during this period of quiet confidence that I met someone unexpectedly. We didn't meet in a dramatic or cinematic way, no accidental bump on a rainy street or chance encounter at a coffee shop. We met through mutual friends at a simple gathering. Yet, from the very first conversation, something felt different. There was no pressure, no pretending, no fear of being judged for my past. He didn't see me as divorced. He saw me as me, someone who had lived, learned, and grown. Our connection developed slowly, naturally. We talked for hours about everything and nothing, about books, childhood dreams, and the small joys that make life meaningful. For the first time in a long while, I felt truly seen. And instead of feeling the need to impress, I simply allowed myself to be authentic. Of course, I was cautious. After all, the heart remembers pain. But this time, I approached love differently. I didn't rush to define the relationship or cling to expectations. I allowed space for trust to build, for laughter to return, and for vulnerability to feel safe again. There were moments of fear, moments when my past tried to whisper doubts into my present. But I learned to silence those voices with gratitude. I reminded myself that I had survived heartbreak before, and I could face uncertainty again if needed. The difference now was that I was no longer afraid of being alone. This unexpected relationship became a mirror, reflecting not only love but also how far I had come. It showed me that healing isn't about erasing the past, it's about growing beyond it. It's about realizing that pain can shape you, but it doesn't have to define you. Dating after divorce taught me that love doesn't have an expiration date, and new beginnings are always possible, even when you think your story is over. What matters most isn't finding someone new, it's finding yourself again along the way. As our relationship continued to grow, I began to realize how much I had changed since my divorce, not just emotionally, but spiritually and mentally. I no longer saw love as something to complete me, I saw it as something to complement me. I didn't need someone to fill a void, because I had already done the work to fill it myself. What I needed was someone to share the fullness of life with, someone who understood that partnership means growing together, not losing oneself in the process. We took things slowly. There was no rush to label, no urgency to prove anything. Instead, there was a quiet understanding that what we were building was meant to last, and that it required patience, communication, and trust. We both had our scars, our past stories, and our unhealed corners. But instead of hiding them, we shared them openly. It was in that honesty that true intimacy began to form. I remember one evening in particular, we were sitting on the porch, watching the sunset, both lost in our thoughts. He turned to me and said softly, "You know, sometimes the best things in life come after the hardest endings." That moment stayed with me. It wasn't about promises or grand declarations. It was about truth, the quiet kind that seeps into your heart and settles there. Through this journey, I discovered that love after divorce isn't about erasing what came before. It's about embracing your past as a teacher, not a curse. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every tear prepared me to love more consciously, to love with understanding instead of illusion, with patience instead of desperation. There are still days when I think about how different life turned out from what I once imagined. But instead of sadness, I feel gratitude. Because without those endings, I would never have found this peace, this deeper, quieter kind of happiness that doesn't depend on perfection. Dating after divorce was never just about finding love again. It was about rediscovering who I truly am when everything else falls away, strong, hopeful, and open to the unexpected beauty of life. And that's the most surprising part of all, I didn't just find love again. I found myself.